Haley smoked the 128 UN countries that voted against U.S. on Jerusalem on Thursday. The United Nations voted 128-9 to rebuke the United States' decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. The vote didn't matter, of course, it was merely symbolic, as non-binding resolutions of this type always are. The United States will still recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and be moving their embassy there if the Trump administration has anything to do about it. However, before 128 nations decided to vote against the United States, UN Ambassador Nikki Haley absolutely smoked them in a speech that likely made more than a few nations think twice about their decision. In her speech before the United Nations General Assembly before the vote on the Egyptian written resolution, Haley warned other nations that America will remember this day when it comes to future aid requests. According to the Daily Caller, the resolution expressed deep regret at recent decisions concerning the status of Jerusalem. It also said that any resolutions that purport to have altered the character, status or demographic composition of the holy city of Jerusalem, like the Trump administration's decision to affirm it as the capital of Israel, are null and void. To its shame, the United Nations has long been a hostile place for the state of Israel, Haley said. Both the current and the previous secretary-generals have objected to the UN's disproportionate focus on Israel. It's a wrong that undermines the credibility of this institution and that in turn is harmful for the entire world. She then reminded the United Nations of America's importance to the body. The United States is by far the single largest contributor to the United Nations and its agencies. We do this, in part, in order to advance our values and our interests. When that happens, our participation in the UN produces great good for the world, Haley said. Together we feed, clothe, and educate desperate people. We nurture and sustain fragile peace in conflict areas throughout the world. And we hold outlaw regimes accountable. We do this because it represents who we are. It is our American way. But we'll be honest with you. When we make generous contributions to the UN, we also have a legitimate expectation that our goodwill is recognized and respected. When a nation is singled out for attack in this organization, that nation is disrespected. What's more, that nation is asked to pay for the privilege of being disrespected. Haley also made it clear that the resolution would have no effect on the Trump administration's policy. America will put our embassy in Jerusalem, Haley said. That is what the American people want us to do, and it is the right thing to do. No vote in the United Nations will make any difference on that right before that. However, she made sure that nations voting for the non-binding resolution knew what was at stake. The United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly for the very act of exercising our right as a sovereign nation, Haley said. We will remember it when we are called upon to once again make the world's largest contribution to the United Nations. And we will remember it when so many countries come calling on us, as they so often do, to pay even more and to use our influence for their benefit. Just like acknowledging that Israel's capital is Jerusalem was something America should have done a long time ago, what Nikki Haley said on Thursday was something America should have said before the General Assembly long ago. The United States has played along with the United Nations and its anti-Israel agenda for decades now. Every time this sort of thing happens, which is more often than you'd care to remember, we hardly consider consequences, much less threaten them. Haley's speech was exactly what America needed to say. If the United Nations wants our cooperation and our resources, it also has to respect our relationship with the State of Israel. If nations want our aid, they cannot be expressly against the Jewish state. That is something that should be non-negotiable, no matter who the president may be. No, the ambassador's speech may not have swayed many votes, but it put the world body on notice that with a new administration comes new rules, especially in regards to Israel. Please like and share on Facebook and Twitter with your thought on Haley's speech.